thank you to our sponsor, MBA Growth Partners.
Welcome to Studio 501c3. I'm your host, Kim Jones, CEO of the Nonprofit Village, which increases capacity and provides shared space for charitable organizations. Our show features nonprofits that provide essential programs and services. They're charities that the IRS has designated 501c3 because they provide a public benefit, and in most cases, your donations to them are tax deductible. We are also a proud partner of Montgomery Community Media, which is your public access resource that provides a variety of information and programs relevant to Montgomery County. Today, I'm joined by Janine Tursini, the Director and CEO of Arts for the Aging. Arts for the Aging engages older adults and caregivers in health improvement and life enhancement through regular participation in multidisciplinary arts. Thanks for joining the show, Janine.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So there are a lot of arts programs that exist, and many of them are even for older adults. What makes Arts for the Aging this model that helps with creative aging?
Well, what makes Arts for the Aging a model is the fact that we have a multidisciplinary approach to our programs, and we've been at it for 34 years. This is our 34th year. There are other artists and organizations out there nationally that are leading similar types of programs, but what makes us unique, again, is that multidisciplinary approach. We have a faculty of 22 teaching artists. They're professional artists that we train to work in creative aging methodologies, and they're engaging older adults and caregivers in all manner of art making. So it's painting and drawing and dance and music and storytelling and poetry programs and interdisciplinary programs, a lot of collaborative work as well. And our teaching artists are going out into community and residential care settings. We'll do much more of that, of course, after the pandemic, but we've transformed into being able to provide virtual programs, so live and pre-recorded programs that also address multisensory components that make our programs much more accessible to people.
So can I interrupt you for just a second? So the teaching artists, they're already professional artists, but you are teaching them in your style of making sure that that information gets out to the public that you're working with.
That's right. That's right. So, some of the techniques that are used by our teaching artists that we teach them is, for, keeping workshop ideas simple and dignified, using high quality artistic content. This is why working with professional artists is really important. Keeping the atmosphere friendly and open, and this emphasis of participation and enjoyment rather than this idea of creating a product that people want to label as good. So it's process over product and progress over perfection. These are just some of the ways and some of the techniques that we use and that we teach to professional artists to help them understand what it means to engage really effectively and in participatory ways with older adults and caregivers.
So and Arts for the Aging really lives by this belief behind the studies that have been done, that regular participation in arts programs really kind of minimizes the effects of impairments due to aging. There's actual studies behind what work you're doing, correct?
That's right. And actually it kind of takes me to I'll tell you a little bit about some of the research behind it, but the story of our founding, it's bringing that story up for me because our founder, Lolo Sarnoff, was an artist and a scientist. And in the late 80s, she was invited by former colleagues at the National Institutes of Health to study people with Alzheimer's disease involved in an arts activity. And what they found were that moods and behaviors in these individuals improved over the course of the workshops, and then that even some of those mood and behavior improvements lasted after the workshops ended. So this was an aha moment for our founder, and she branched off and started Arts for the Aging. And now, all these years later, there's this whole field of creative aging and arts and health that's grown up around us. And we know that for older adults, there are statistically and significantly higher levels of, for example, 5 positive well-being indicators like interest and sustained attention, pleasure, self-esteem, and normalcy. Mm-hmm. And there are physical changes that happen when we participate in the arts regularly. They're connected to the secretion of certain hormones, like we decrease our cortisol levels, and that means that stress and anxiety are reduced, by way of example. Oxytocin starts generating when we're involved in the arts, and that's our love and well-being hormone, and that can stimulate positive immune responses. So there's lots of research and study out there that's growing and emerging. And in terms of our goals for programs, it's really about getting people socially connected, reducing feelings of isolation, because we know how bad isolation is for our bodies. AARP Foundation reports that regular isolation is akin to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of what it can do to our health. So,
I was going to ask you about that. And by the way, some of the jewelry that your founder, Lolo, donated to the organization, I actually have a couple of those pieces.
Wonderful. I hope you're wearing them in wonderful health. Yes.
I do. I enjoy them very much. So when you mentioned, the effects of isolation, we've been through a pandemic. People have been isolated. What are the challenges that you've had in reaching seniors while they're in being isolated? How are you getting to them and continuing some of the programming?
Well, the way that we have transformed over the last couple of years is through finding ways to provide virtual programming, and then also addressing some of the digital divide as well. Not every older adult and caregiver can get up online, and our clients are typically community and residential care settings. So we usually work with groups. So for individuals that aren't able to log on and get a video working and participate in that way, they can call into our Zoom programs. So we have, our live online programs. You can participate by phone or by video. And then, as I mentioned, we also have created a way to address the digital divide by something called Heart Kits. So we've been delivering.
Janine, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to stop you right there because we need to take a short break, but I want to come back and have you finish talking about working with adults and senior adults in isolation. We're going to come back and learn a little bit more about the physical and intellectual and emotional health for older adults through Arts for the Aging program. Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media will be right back.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Studio 501c3, your window into exceptional nonprofit programs in Montgomery County. I'm talking with Janine Tursini, the Director and CEO of Arts for the Aging. And before the break, Janine, you were talking about how you have shifted to work with seniors that have been in isolation and, some of the changes in the work that you have your artists going out to do with them. Can you go ahead and finish?
Yes. So in addition to some of the live virtual programs, we have pre-recorded programs as well that can be run on demand. And then also we've created something called Heart Kits. So for people who can't access digital, our digital programs, These kits come with a theme specially created by our teaching artists and high quality art materials that can be unpacked and instructions for how to create works of art at home. These kits can also be used in tandem with live workshops as well. So we've used them in two different ways. And we've done some in-person programming during the pandemic, not much. That's the biggest challenge, is that a lot of the clients and communities that we've reached traditionally over the years are still not open to outside vendors. And so we've come up with these various ways to reach into these communities, either virtually or through the delivery of some of these materials, these artistic materials. And
it actually sounds like you've continued to kind of be a model in other ways, because you have other organizations that are serving vulnerable populations. It could be youth or those who are ill, just like you're dealing with seniors. And when you're dealing with populations where you have to be especially careful, I think it's important to know that these kinds of things can be done. So it sounds like you've been very creative and innovative in that. I wanted to ask you real quick about, because I've heard you talk about Quicksilver before, and I think is that the improv, the dance program?
Yes, Quicksilver is our senior improv dance company. They are older adults that participate and enjoy learning and mastering dance as a methodology in their own lives and for performance purposes. But also Quicksilver traditionally will then take what they've learned and go out into our community and residential care settings and lead workshops with their frailer peers. So it's a really powerful model. And actually what we're talking about now is developing some videos that we can burn onto DVDs so that some of the clients that are open but not open to outside vendors can play these pre-recorded Quicksilver workshops and engage in dance on demand.
Okay.
So that's the latest with Quicksilver.
Thank you for sharing that. Because I was going to ask you all about also about donors. We've only got about a minute left, but when donors contribute to Arts for the Aging, I think these are the kinds of things that they should know, that, you know, their donation or contribution really supports. If you are trying to purchase DVDs to burn, recordings onto, or you're trying to do the heart kits, those are the things that people will really be supporting, and that's a direct benefit to a senior citizen.
Absolutely. And it's also supporting the work of professional artists. Think about workforce development for artists who struggle to earn livings as the professionals that they are. And so donations to our programs help to support the development of programs, the facilitation of programs led by teaching artists. And there are 18 clients out there in 36 different locations where we're currently programming in Greater Washington, D.C. And we've had some special projects along the way too, like with the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. We're training up a number of teaching artists through the commission, and we've got a lot of wonderful things in the works and to support.
That is great. You have a lot of resources on your website. We're going to be putting up your site so that people will see that. And I know people can register to get your emails, and they can register for programs and classes that are available, or any kind of work that you're doing in the community. So I think it's important for people to know about that as well.
And in terms of involvement in programs, people do need to be involved with the client sites that we reach in order to engage in our programs. And we're looking at ways to open up programming to anybody who wants to register. But currently now,
we're going to have to stop there, but I've enjoyed the conversation and learning more about Arts for the Aging. Janine Tursini is our guest today, and I want to thank you for sharing the extensive programs available to older adults. For more information on Arts for the Aging, visit their website at artsfortheaging.org. I'm Kim Jones. Thanks for joining us, and come back for another edition of Studio 501c3 on MCM.